Just want to give you an overview of some of the new features and enhancements in RuBAN 1.8. The first feature is a major enhancement to the incident summary. So whereas before you have your instructions on how to deal with the event, your troubleshooting automatically collected at the time of the event, you have your CPU and memory 20 minutes either side of the event, now you also have the CLI history and the syslog history automatically attached to every incident in RuBAN. First of all, the CLI history is simply CLI commands entered on that device leading up to the event, so you could very quickly see whether someone made a config change or typed something on the CLI that could have caused this event. Syslog history is all the syslog messages leading up to the event, so again you could see if something else was happening on the device that could have caused that event. So the next feature I want to show you is a new category in the embedded policies. It's the IPT category, and it contains 4 policies. The first policy I'll show you is the suspect calls. So here's how you create a suspect call policy. So a call is determined to be suspect if the duration exceeds a certain period in minutes, or if it contains blacklisted numbers. So you can easily configure a threshold here, and as soon as a call is detected that has exceeded that duration, an incident will be created. You can select your blacklisted numbers here. You can select one, or you can select many using the control or shift keys, and as soon as a call that contains one of those blacklisted numbers is detected, an incident will be created. The next policy I want to show you is the PRI capacity policy. So to create this, you just set the number of available channels in the PRI, then you set a threshold, so you don't want greater than X percentage of the channels to be in use at any one time. And here you can have a period, so basically if the channel usage exceeds 70% for 5 minutes, it'll generate an incident. And you also have a hold off here so that you don't get multiple alerts for the same incident. So the next policy I'm going to look at is the fault codes policy. So with this you can monitor certain ISDN cause codes that indicate that calls are disconnecting due to an error. So I'll just go to create one. So here we have all the usual details, plus we have all the possible ISDN cause codes listed here in a table, and you can click on any of them to get a description of what that cause code means. So basically, to monitor cause code, you just select them, and you can select multiple cause codes using the control or shift keys. So for example, we want to monitor the network out of order, temporary failure. And basically when a call has ended and we detect that it's ended due to this cause code, an incident will be created. And finally, the last policy in the new category is the ISDN test policy. So create a new one. So this policy can be used to test ISDN backup links to ensure that if they were ever needed, that they'd be available to come up. So you can do that by doing a simple ping to that backup link. So you just put in your IP address to ping from. The destination is the IP address of the backup ISDN link, and you give it a descriptive text. And you can add as many as you want here. And basically, when this policy executes, it's going to ping these backup links and give a report on which links were successfully came up, which were unavailable, or if there was partial fails. And also, the good thing about this policy is that it's across multiple devices. So if you put this policy out onto multiple devices, you'll get one incident created which summarizes the results of the policy across all of the devices. The next feature I want to talk about, which is a huge addition in RuBAN 1.8, is the syslog policies section. This is used to monitor any syslogs or even entire categories of syslogs sent from a network device. RuBAN makes this easy for you, because here we have the entire library of Cisco system messages built into the product, over 22,000 Cisco syslog messages, and this list is easily searchable. And to monitor one, you can just select it and you get all the extra information. So for each syslog message, we have the category it's in, the carrier description, the severity, the message, And then we have an explanation of what that message means, Cisco's recommended actions on what to take should this event occur, and even automated troubleshooting where it's recommended. We automatically include this in the instructions, and we automatically include this in the policy so that we collect that troubleshooting for you. You can select individual messages, or you can select entire categories. All the categories are available here. You can select multiple categories using the Control and Shift keys. Again, individual messages, there's nice filters here where you can filter certain priorities. Categories, you can use a filter here as well, so that if you're monitoring a category, only messages of a certain severity can trigger this policy. There's also a hold off. If a particular message that you're monitoring is triggering over and over again, you don't want to create multiple incidents, so you can hold off for a period of time if more than a certain amount of incidents are created within a period of time by this policy, and it only holds off on the device that you're getting the alerts from. So the next feature I want to look at is the device bulk importer, which makes the job of adding devices easier. Instead of having to go in individually and go all the way around and fill in the fields one by one, you can now do a bulk import from an Excel file. So if you have an Excel file, it's in this format, you have one row per device and you have all the fields for each device. You can import that Excel file into the system here, like so. And then your devices are there, and you just click import to add them all. We also have an enhancement to the security in RuBAN 1.8. Here you now have the choice between using local authentication, TACACS authentication, and LDAP authentication for users logging into the RuBAN web front end. So for local authentication, it just uses RuBAN's local database of users, which you can configure here. So you have admin and operator, the two default users, and you can create them as normal or edit them. So we can test the user here. So here's the admin user. Test that login. It works under the selected authentication method, which is local. But that user, however, will not work because now I've changed it to TACACS. So there's no admin user in the TACACS. So I just change it to a TACACS user, and now the credentials do work. Likewise, we have LDAP authentication, so you put in your server IP address, your port, your domain name, and now I can test an LDAP user. Test that, and I successfully log in. So I'm just going to set it to TACACS. I'm going to put a TACACS user here. Test it to make sure. Success. We'll save that. I'm going to log out of the system and ensure I can log in with my TACACS user. The same login I log into my network devices with, I can now log into RuBAN. And the last feature I want to show you is the global settings. So this is just to make the administrating the RuBAN system that bit easier. You have device global settings, so you can enter your global settings there, your community string, your default logins. You have policy global settings, so for the email you have the mail server IP, the to recipients, the CC recipients. So I'll show you those you use. Basically, if you're going to create a new device, the fields are already full in for you from the global settings, so the credentials and that. And same with the policies, you go in to create a new policy, and if you want to enable the email action, you've got the fields are already full in for you. So that's global settings. Then we have device group settings. This would be good if you want to make a bulk edit to a number of devices. So for example, here I want to change the community string on a number of devices. I change it there, and I select all the devices I want to make the change to here. So I'm pushing it out to 3 devices. So instead of having to go into each of those devices individually to make the change, I can just select them all here and go apply to selected devices, and you can see the status coming up there, and it's now successfully connected. So that makes that a lot easier. So that's the last of the main features added in RuBAN 1.8. There was lots of other performance enhancements and improvements also. So to download your copy, you can go to www.davernetworks.com.